The movie begins by showing a vast desert. As far as the eye can see, there's nothing but dry and barren land. No trees, no greenery. Right through the middle of the desert, a freight train is moving. Inside the train, we see a man named Virgil. He's wearing dirty clothes, and dust covers his face. Virgil is sitting inside one of the train cars, eating a small portion of food. At that moment, a poor mother holding her child in her arms looks at Virgil, silently begging for a little food. Without a word, Virgil hands over his food to the mother. Soon, the train arrives at an outpost. The place is completely deserted, no sign of life around. An outpost, in this world, is a small area located far from army zones, primarily functioning as a security checkpoint. Virgil meets a local man named Kit. Virgil wants to go to a place called the Compound. Kit sets out with a vehicle that Virgil rented for $200. But then Kit informs him that an additional $100 will be needed for gas and $20 more for water. After traveling for a while, the vehicle suddenly breaks down. Virgil tries to fix it, and during that time, they notice two wild dogs violently fighting each other. After a while, one dog begins eating the flesh of the other. Watching such a brutal scene, Virgil is shocked. They continue their journey through the desert. The heat from the scorching sun is unbearable. As night falls, they gather some wood and light a fire, because wild dogs fear fire and won't attack if they see it. Kit asks Virgil, "Why do you want to go to the compound?" Virgil shows him a paper advertisement and says that there are more job opportunities in the compound. "I'm going there looking for work." Kit's voice carries a hint of fear. He says, "I've heard the place isn't so great. People are said to kill each other just to survive there." The next day, they continue their journey again, this time with Virgil driving the vehicle himself. They were told not to use the AC because it would drain the fuel faster and cause the vehicle to stop. And that's exactly what happens. The vehicle shuts down right in the middle of the dry desert. Virgil realizes that because of his mistake, they're about to face serious trouble. As he looks around the area and walks a bit, he suddenly comes across a strange arrangement of stones. At first, he doesn't understand what it is, but after observing carefully, he discovers a large chunk of gold. Virgil is stunned and immediately calls out to Kit in excitement. Kit comes over and uses a lighter to test the gold by heating it. If the stone burned, it wouldn't be real gold. But to their surprise, the test proves that the chunk is indeed pure gold. Without wasting any time, they start trying to extract the gold using whatever tools they had with them in the truck. But the gold was firmly embedded in the ground, and despite all their efforts, they couldn't get a single piece out. Eventually, evening falls, and they gather some wood and light a fire again to keep the wild dogs away. Finding so much gold makes them incredibly happy. In a world where everything is in short supply, having money or resources is crucial, because in this world, only those with wealth are given any importance. This gold could change their future. But the problem was, they had to extract the gold chunk. Kit said, "You stay here. I'll sit beside the gold to make sure it doesn't get lost, because in this vast desert, once you lose a place, you'll never find it again. You go and bring the digging tools from nearby." Virgil refused and said, "I was the one who first found the gold, so I'll stay here." The next morning, Kit gave Virgil some food, water, and a phone and said, "Stay right here. I'll be back within 5 days." Then Kit left with the vehicle. Virgil started staying alone beside the gold and soon realized how hard it was to be all alone there. To protect himself, he slowly built a tent next to the gold chunk. As evening approached, he made arrangements to light a fire. He ate a little food and drank some water to get through the night, because once the food and water ran out, he wouldn't survive much longer. There was no supply of food here, and he would have to slowly starve to death wandering this vast desert. The next morning, while searching for wood, Virgil found a broken plane. After much effort, he used some broken parts of the plane to reinforce and strengthen his tent. After that, Virgil fell asleep inside the broken plane for a while. The scorching desert sun completely burned his face, causing painful blisters. The temperature in this empty desert was beyond anything one could imagine. At that time, the sun's heat on Earth was already extremely intense. Virgil gradually began to grow physically exhausted. After a while, he noticed a scorpion sitting on the gold chunk. But he didn't chase it away, because in this lonely desert, it was his only companion. Instead of sitting idle, he started digging the ground again. After a long effort, Virgil managed to extract a small piece of the gold chunk. Holding it carefully, he treasured it deeply. Just then, Kit called him and said that he would be delayed for a few more days. Virgil told Kit about the gold piece he had found, but Kit insisted they needed to dig more to extract the entire gold. Their greed had grown so much that they could think of nothing else but the gold. Only the gold shone brightly in their eyes. Besides the fierce wild dogs, there were many unknown dangers in this empty desert, but they had forgotten all the risks, driven only by the hope of finding gold. Virgil still had to wait several more days for Kit, and his supplies of water and food were running low. And he was somehow managing to protect himself from the wild dogs. One day, Virgil carefully measured and saved enough water in his bottle to last for 1 day. He rationed his water daily because his supply of water and food was limited. Suddenly, that day, a snake appeared. Virgil knew how dangerously venomous desert snakes could be. While trying to kill the snake to protect himself, Virgil accidentally spilled all the water he had saved for the day. Seeing this, Virgil became very hopeless. He helplessly stared at the spilled water because there was nothing else he could do. Somehow, he tried to get through that day. The next day, while breaking apart more parts of the plane, he suddenly saw a woman approaching him. He got very scared and hurriedly hid the piece of gold he had with him inside his bag. By that time, the woman had come close to Virgil. She was suspicious of him because he was living alone in this deserted desert. Although from Virgil's behavior, the woman sensed that he was hiding something from her. The woman offered him some food, but Virgil ignored her. Virgil refused to take any food or water from the woman to get her to leave. He was afraid that if she somehow found out about the gold he had, she would kill him. So, no matter what, he had to drive her away. The woman started asking Virgil many questions. She said, "I saw your camp a long time ago." Virgil ignored her words and tried to make various excuses to get her to leave. He knew that if she followed him all the way to the tent, she would find the gold chunks. Their conversation quickly turned into an argument. The woman said, "If you stay here too long, your body will completely dry out. Gradually, your mind will start to fail. You'll begin imagining all sorts of crazy things, and one day you will end up dying." But Virgil was unwilling to leave at all. Actually, the woman also lived in that area, and many people from the city often came and destroyed their land. So, seeing Virgil there, she suspected that maybe he too might damage her land. That's why she was trying hard to drive him away. During the argument, Virgil suddenly became extremely angry. The intense desert heat, hunger, and thirst had made his brain not function properly. In a fit of rage, he struck the woman with a hoe and killed her. The man who couldn't even kill a scorpion had, out of greed, killed a living person that day. He couldn't believe it himself. A calm, gentle man like him had taken another human's life just because of greed. But there was nothing surprising about it. This was the harsh reality of survival here. Either kill or be killed. After a while, he dug a shallow grave and buried the woman. He then used the remaining food and supplies for himself. While eating, he saw a wild dog digging up the grave, trying to eat the dead woman's flesh. Virgil grabbed a weapon and scared the dogs away, then dragged the woman's body farther away and burned it. As night fell, that incident kept haunting Virgil's mind over and over, the fact that he had killed a human being. He was filled with such remorse and guilt that he broke down crying loudly. He couldn't bear the loneliness of this empty desert, and he felt if he stayed here any longer, he would go mad. Virgil called Kit, urgently pleading for him to come quickly. At that moment, he saw a car passing by not far away. Virgil could have taken that car to reach his destination, but as the saying goes, greed is a terrible thing. His mind was now drowning in the lust for gold. He hid behind the broken plane so that the owner of the passing car wouldn't see him, because if that person saw him, he would come here, and that could bring new trouble. Virgil didn't want to get caught up in any new problems at all. Suddenly, the weather in the desert began to change. Virgil saw a terrifying sandstorm approaching him. Slowly, the storm tore through his camp, scattering the broken pieces everywhere. Virgil tried to gather the scattered debris amidst the storm. Suddenly, a tree branch flew and pierced his stomach. After a while, the storm calmed down, but Virgil was unconscious and severely injured. At that moment, he had no shelter because his tent had been blown away by the storm. All his food and even the little water he had were ruined. He felt completely helpless, and his mental and physical state worsened badly. But even in this situation, Virgil found the goldstone. After some time, he pulled the tree branch out of his stomach. Then, he heated a piece of iron in the fire and pressed it against his wound, because an open wound quickly becomes infected, and that could cause his body to rot. So, to sterilize the open wound, he applied the hot iron. Imagine the kind of agony a person would feel applying hot iron to their own body. The pain was so intense that Virgil lost consciousness for a while. After some time, Virgil opened his eyes and saw a girl standing before him, holding a bow and arrow. The girl looked exactly like the same woman he had killed with his own hands. Seeing that woman's identical face suddenly before his eyes, he was shocked. In reality, Virgil's mental state had deteriorated so much that hallucinations and illusions had begun. He could only hear that woman's voice all around him. But soon, he realized it was no hallucination. There was truly a living person standing in front of him. The girl gave him water and tried to bring him back to consciousness. After a while, she wanted to help him, but Virgil shouted for her to leave. The greed for gold was still burning fiercely inside him. He did not want anyone else to come near him, because if this girl somehow found out about the gold, she would kill Virgil and take the gold for herself. The girl only asked, "Have you seen my sister?" Virgil gave no answer, and the girl clearly understood that Virgil had killed her sister. After all, that's what was happening all around, people killing each other for food and shelter. Without saying anything more, the girl left. Virgil then lost consciousness again. When he regained his senses, he saw a fire burning on some wood nearby. Virgil dug out his phone from under the sand and contacted Kit. Kit told him that he had come very close and could even see the smoke from the fire from a distance. Meanwhile, Virgil was surrounded by many wild, vicious dogs from all sides. Seeing this, Virgil was terrified. He called Kit again and pleaded, "Come quickly, they're going to tear me apart." With his weak body, Virgil couldn't hold off the dogs for long. The dogs attacked him and began dragging him away alive. Virgil screamed and cried. Even in such a terrifying situation, he was thinking not about his own life, but about the gold. Meanwhile, Kit was watching all this from afar through binoculars. He was prepared with excavation equipment, but made no effort to save Virgil. Kit had been waiting for this moment. In fact, Kit had come here 2 days earlier. He wanted Virgil to die of hunger and thirst so he could take all the gold for himself. Gradually, the vicious dogs started eating Virgil's flesh. While still alive, Virgil looked one last time at an advertisement for going to the compound, and then he died. Looking at the advertisement for the compound at the time of death symbolized that in the end, Virgil realized that hard work and honest living were far better than the greed for gold. If I hadn't been so obsessed with the gold, if I had gone to the compound instead, at least I could have struggled and survived there. This is what Virgil thought as he breathed his last. Then we see Kit returning to that place with his car. He looks coldly at Virgil's blood-stained corpse. After that, Kit takes out his equipment from the car and moves forward to mine the gold. But just then, suddenly an arrow strikes his chest, and Kit dies right there alongside Virgil. With this, the story of the movie ends. Now the question is, how did Kit suddenly die in this deserted desert? The movie doesn't clearly answer this, but as far as it can be guessed, it was that same girl who tried to save Virgil by giving him water. The same girl who killed Kit. She knew that Virgil and some others had come here, killed her sister, and stolen their belongings. The girl feared that if they could kill her sister, they could kill her too. Out of this fear, she likely killed Kit. And if Virgil had survived instead of Kit, she might have killed Virgil as well. In the end, neither Virgil nor Kit got to enjoy the gold. That's probably why it is said, greed leads to sin, and sin leads to death. Today's movie was quite different. How did you like it? Be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, you don't have to subscribe. Just give it a like and share it with your friends. See you in the next video.